A lot of Christians are saying that Donald Trump is the Antichrist after he recently came out and said this.
We achieved more in 6 months than almost any administration could accomplish in 8 years, and we're going to have a lot of good 6 months left. We're going to have a 6 and another 6 and another 6, so we'll keep going.
And then check this out. This was a clip of the news talking about that.
President Trump is marking 6 months in office.
The White House is touting what the administration sees as one success after another, but there are plenty of challenges.
They're talking about Trump's first 6 months at 6:06 a.m. with 66 degrees outside. What are the odds of that?
Donald Trump does share some characteristics the Antichrist will have, and some of the policies he's been putting forth recently are also very similar to what the Antichrist will do. Honestly, a lot of people in high positions of power share some of these characteristics or policies. It's honestly probably a worldwide foreshadowing of prophecy to come to fulfillment in the future. But here's 5 of the most common characteristics that Donald Trump has that people use to say he's the Antichrist. Then we'll look at recent news and see how a lot of these are actually happening right now. One of the biggest is the peace efforts in the Middle East. Daniel 9:27 tells us the Antichrist will do this. Trump has been bringing peace to the Middle East with the Abraham Accords and mending a lot of the relationships over there. Definitely one of the biggest connections to Donald Trump that people use. He's also charismatic, popular, and has a strong man persona, something told to us in Revelation and 2 Thessalonians that the Antichrist will also have. Global political disruption is another characteristic. Donald Trump has definitely been doing this, but we'll look into in just a moment if what Donald Trump is doing is exactly what the Antichrist will be doing. Prideful and blasphemous speech is told to us in the book of Daniel as well as Revelation, and messianic overtones from supporters is something the Antichrist will obviously have, and something that people in support of this theory have said that the mega followers of Trump have also. I don't believe that Donald Trump is the Antichrist, but just because I support conservative values and conservative policies doesn't mean that we shouldn't look at conservative politicians to potentially fit this persona of the Antichrist. And it also doesn't mean that we shouldn't look at the politicians or the side of the government that we support politically under a microscope, because just like we've seen recently with Republicans, they have backtracked big time on the stuff in relation to Jeffrey.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country, and that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay?
So now let's look at some of the recent news of policies and things Donald Trump has been doing that people say the Antichrist will do, or that he will do, but in a much bigger way. Trump orders National Guard into Washington and takes over DC police.
Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the DC Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening. They've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and shot, and you all know people and friends of yours that happened.
Obviously, we're told in prophecy that the Antichrist system will be enforced upon the populations by physical force. Now, it's kind of scary to see how some of this looks like martial law, and it's hard because on one hand, we do need the streets cleaned up and the lawlessness that's been spreading has to stop in America, but then seeing these types of things happen and change is a scary foreshadowing for when a wicked ruler, such as the Antichrist, gets in position of power, how he could use these same methods to enforce the mark of the beast, worshiping the image of the beast, worshiping him, and following the beast system. Trump and Israel and Netanyahu's relationship is another massive one that people say makes Donald Trump the Antichrist. This is actually a good thing. It is something that we as a nation are supposed to do with Israel. The Bible does command it, and we do want peace in the Middle East and around the world. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, they will be called the children of God." So what we're seeing in the Middle East is not the fulfillment of the 7-year peace treaty, but again, it really appears to be a type of foreshadowing of what's to come, and we've seen more of this in recent days.
President of the United States, the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia will now sign the joint declaration on the outcomes of the Trump Route for International Peace and Prosperity Summit.
So who, if not President Trump, deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? I don't want to go into the history of some very strange decisions of the Nobel Peace Committee to award the prize for someone who didn't do anything at all. But President Trump in 6 months did miracle.
One of the most well-known prophecies of the Antichrist is the mark of the beast and how he will control the monetary systems. Donald Trump just signed a bill making changes to the monetary system in the United States with cryptocurrency and stable coins. This is, again, not the mark of the beast or the beast system, but seeing how these changes are happening here and all around the world, to me, definitely appears to be a foreshadowing of what's to come.
The Genius Act, they named it after me, and I want to thank you.
The first crypto bill in U.S. history was just signed into law. President Trump signed the Genius Act, which regulates a kind of cryptocurrency called stablecoins. They're tied to the value of other assets like the dollar or gold, which makes them more stable compared to other crypto like Bitcoin, which is known to be volatile. So why the Genius Act? Well, it creates a regulatory framework which requires people who issue stablecoin to comply with anti-laundering and sanctions rules. This act likely paves the way for stablecoin to go mainstream and to be used for digital payments. And you'll probably see big Wall Street firms and other non-financial companies embracing it.
The Genius Act gives the government the power to seize, freeze, or burn digital currency. Let me read you something directly from the Genius Act, and I quote, "All stablecoin issuers must possess the technical capability to seize, freeze, or burn payment stablecoins when legally required, and must comply with lawful orders to do so."
Here's more evidence that monetary systems are changing. This is the BRICS dollar, showing the different nations, Russia, Brazil, India, China, South Africa, and more joining all the time. They want to make a new currency. Things are changing in the world in a big way. We are seeing how Bible prophecy definitely will unfold and change everything in the earth, probably in the not too distant future. It's also amazing to see what's happening right now with all the major religions across the world. We'll look back to one of those characteristics that said the Antichrist will speak prideful and blasphemous speech. These prophecies aren't just self-praise like what Donald Trump does frequently, but great and blasphemous things, exalting himself above God. This is something Donald Trump has not been publicly doing, but the false Mahdi that we've seen recently that other Christians have been saying is the Antichrist, he definitely has.
Another thing that unites us is this common belief that there is going to be a messenger or a Messiah or a Mahdi that's going to come, and he's going to correct all of the understandings, and he's going to unite the world, and he's going to bring peace and prosperity. The Jews are still awaiting their promised Messiah, and some Jews think that it must happen in this generation because of their interpretations of the timeline of the Bible and how many thousand years are between Adam to the advent of the Messiah. And so we're at the very end of the age and it has to happen now. And they see that right now, them being in Israel is a fulfillment, kind of foreshadowing of what's to happen. The Christians are expecting the second coming of Jesus, and the Muslims are also expecting the second coming of Jesus alongside with the coming of the Mahdi. And I think that it's very interesting. It's very interesting that we would be at war with one another when at the end, like Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and every sincere people on the earth should just wish for the truth.
That guy's obviously not the real Mahdi. The real Mahdi actually could be the Antichrist told to us in Bible prophecy. What's amazing with all the major religions across the world is that the Jews are looking for a Messiah to come. The Muslims are also looking for this Mahdi, who is a type of Messiah figure. But the Bible warns us a deceptive leader, the Antichrist, comes first before Jesus Christ, the true Messiah's second coming. The Quran teaches the Mahdi will make an Israel peace treaty for 7 years through a Levite Jew and will rule for approximately 3 years. This is exactly what the prophecy in the book of Daniel says that the Antichrist will do. That prophecy in the book of Daniel says halfway through that 7-year peace treaty, the Antichrist will desecrate the temple, set himself up as God, speak the great blasphemies told to us in other prophecies, and commit the abomination of desolation. The Quran teaches the Mahdi will establish the Islamic Caliphate from Jerusalem, the same location of the abomination of desolation. The Bible prophesies that the Antichrist will change times and seasons, and the Quran teaches that the Mahdi will implement Sharia law and use the Islamic calendar. And these are not the only comparisons, there are more, and with 2 billion Muslims in the world, it's very easy to imagine how this deception could spread far and wide, and Bible prophecy could unfold.
Let me summarize. He will be a descendant of Muhammad. He will come out of a crisis of turmoil. He will take control of the world. He will destroy all who resist him. He will invade many nations. He will make a 7-year peace treaty with the Jews. He will conquer Israel and massacre the Jews. He will establish Islamic world headquarters at Jerusalem. Establish Islam as the only religion. He will come on a white horse with supernatural power. If that sounds familiar, that is a precise description of the biblical Antichrist. Absolutely, step by step by step by step. The Bible's Antichrist is their Mahdi. We know that the rider on the white horse in Revelation 6 is the Antichrist. They use that verse to describe their Mahdi. Why am I giving you all this? Because the description of the Mahdi is exactly the description of the biblical Antichrist. And you go into any kind of a study of that and you will find that all the details match up perfectly. The Bible's Antichrist is Islam's savior.
Jews are still looking for the Messiah. Muslims are looking for the Mahdi. In connection to Donald Trump being the Antichrist, he's not doing signs and wonders or prophesying false things or purposely leading people away from God or speaking great things or blasphemies against God. The Antichrist will be viewed by people as more of a Messiah and a savior, not one to just fix our country, but one to fix every single problem in the entire world. That's why it's so mind-blowing to see how the Jews are looking for that type of person, the Muslims are as well. Those who practice Hinduism with their tens of thousands of gods would obviously accept a new one, but whoever this next Messiah type of figure who appears in the world will not be here to help us or save us or fix everything, even though we will see a short time of evidence of that. This person will be the deceptive leader, the Antichrist, who attempts one last time with Satan and the false prophet to lead as many people away from the one true God as possible. And Jesus Christ warned us 2,000 years ago that this is exactly how it will all happen. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If another comes in his own name, him you will receive.